Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Onsite and Offshore, a dedicated podcast for professionals involved in offshore projects, where we chat with business owners, project managers, analysts, software developers who have successfully supported their overseas clients from India, and also connect with entrepreneurs who outsource the work to offshoring firms. I'm your host, Suresh Ashok, founder of Matsya Infotech, with a passion for selling and supporting offshore projects. I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the incredible audience who contributed immensely to the overwhelming success of our inaugural episode. Thank you so much, guys. Joining us today is Mr. Vijay Vincent. He comes with an impressive 2 decades of expertise within the publishing and BPO sector, proudly representing Simon and Sons. Welcome to our show, Vijay.
Hi Suresh,
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
All good. Thank you, Vijay. Thanks for accepting to join our podcast today. I really appreciate the nice gesture.
It's my pleasure to join.
Thank you, Vijay. As you know, we have started this podcast to dedicated for on-site and offshore people who have successfully worked with international audience and been serving offshore projects for a certain period of time. So I'm going to dive straight to the topic. Do you remember, your first projects and the client and the task you worked on?
Yes, Suresh. It was in the year 2001 when I started my career with Scientific Publishing Services Private Limited, which was my first company. So my first job involves interacting with the clients from offshore because I was part of the workflow department where it involves interaction with the clients during the starting and ending process. So that's where my interaction started.
Right. And that was for a US client, right? I mean, during our offline conversation, you mentioned
Yes,
that.
yes, it is for US as well as for UK clients.
Oh, okay. So what was the task? What were you managing at that point of time? What was your roles and responsibilities?
I was actually into the workflow department, which involves the entry and exit process for the publishing department. The entry in the sense I'll be just getting the input materials from the client. Input materials in the sense for the publishing process, the input material is called manuscript, which might be in two forms, which is in handwritten format, where the author is the owner of the content. He writes his content in a handwritten format, which is called as handwritten manuscript. And in other ways, it comes in a digital format where the author keys his content in a Word document, or he uses a typewriter or other digital version. So we get the manuscript from the client, so which has to be received from the client from my department, where I used to interact with the clients through email as well as through phone calls. So the phone calls happens during the initial process where the client explains about the project and the requirements. Then we get all the information through email and other modes of chat. So once we analyze everything and if we find everything is fine, then we will just assign the product to the production department. And later on, we get the end finished product, which will be delivered and shipped back to the client. So that's where I used to interact and with the clients from offshore.
So that was your first exposure in interacting with international
Yes,
audience.
absolutely, Suresh.
Now, how difficult was it? Because since I'm sure, once you graduated from your college or you completed your study directly, getting into a mode of business, where you were facing, a different audience altogether.
Frankly speaking, it was very tough for me at the initial stages, might be for the first couple of months, because me being in this ITES industry, once we are exposed to the offshore clients, we will not be given any kind of initial trainings, like voice process or kind of an accent training. We will not be gone through any kind of training. We directly start interacting with the clients. So initial days, it was very tough to understand the accents, especially from US and UK clients. So it was very tough. And later on, when we got used to this, yes, we found it easy, and now it sounds like an experience for us.
Right. And how did you get into the publishing side of business? I mean, was it a choice or you picked it up from someone else?
uh, like frankly speaking, it was kind of a fate for me, because during those days in 2001, we do not have any kind of exposure to job portals and other things. So we always look for a classified section from newspapers. So I just
Right.
went I just applied for some jobs. It was multiple jobs from into classifieds. So
Right.
out of one job, I just got into this. Others didn't work for me, and fortunately or unfortunately, this worked. and that led me into this publishing industry.
Right. So you have grown from a guy who was doing the basic work in the publishing industry to operation director. How the journey has been so far?
Yes, like it was like kind of an great experience for me, because like I just started from scratch. As I already said, like I just started my scratch from workflow department. Then I just moved on to a department called pre-editing, where it involves like structuring and tagging. And later on, like I just worked in the designing part, which is called as the pagination department. Later on, step by step, like I just moved on to the operations and managerial role. And like for the last 8 years, like I'm just heading this company in the senior director of business operations role. So like it gave me a like lasting experience for me, because like I just came step by step to all the stages, so I know like what is in and what is out. So it was a
Right.
pleasant experience for me.
Right. And your company offers various line of services as well as you have your own product as well. Generally, like what services do Indian offshore companies offer in the publishing sector to the international audience?
Like our company, like we offer a variety of services ranging from end-to-end publishing services, which is for both digital as well as for print. And in alignment to that, like we offer various other services like e-learning, 2D and 3D animation services, product development, translation, localization, cartography services, and so on. And with reference to the publishing industry, yes, we offer a variety of services ranging for print and digital segment. So for print segment, like there are different processes like conversion, pagination, which is called as typesetting process. There is something called as editorial services, which deals with languages and grammatical part. Indexing services, which deals with creation of index and other things. So that is with reference to print process. And with reference to digital, there's a variety of services like ebooks, interactive ebooks, accessible pubs. So there are a variety of segments with reference to digital part.
Right. So, Vijay, let me understand. So, if someone is trying to publish a book in the US or in the UK, so you guys do the back end work for them, correct? I mean,
Yes.
back end work in the sense, can you elaborate more on that side? Like, for example, I want to write a book, and this is the content which I've created in a raw document or e-file or I have multiple pages. So from that segment, like how do you get those information to your organization or to your team, and what all the activities you guys do?
Sure. So basically, like a person who writes a book is called as an author. So an author, once he has a written book in a form of a written handwritten manuscript or a digital format, he has two options. One is to go for a self-publishing mode or go with a publisher mode. In case if the author wants to go with the self-publishing mode, now in the latest technological trends, like there are many platforms which offer self-publishing mode. Like we just need to get the content ready. We can use our own design, which is available online in ready-made, and we can just publish our works. But going in self-publishing mode, like the reach to the targeted audience will not be as equal to the other mode, like which is called like a publisher mode. So in case like if you're looking for a bigger audience on bigger areas, and if your focus is on a different segment, then I strongly recommend to choose a well-established publisher, like who is in this market or in this industry for long term, and who has got a good brand. For example, like if you are writing a book on medicine, so like what you have to do is like you have to choose a medical publisher who has got a well-known brand. So the process works in such a way: once you're ready with a manuscript, you have to reach a publisher like who is familiar in this field. So like once you reach the publisher, you have to submit your manuscript for verification. So the publisher will not publish all the manuscripts supplied or like sent to him. Like he will undergo a testing process. Like he will verify the manuscript and make sure the manuscript sent to him was up to the standards or up to the company standards. If he feels the manuscript which was given to him is matching his standards, yes, he will accept the manuscript. If not, he will reject the manuscript. So once the manuscript is accepted, it will move on to various process until it goes for print or digital.
Right. So, and what is it, the role of your team? Like, you have a what close to around 50 to 100 team members in India and Chennai.
Yes, Suresh, like we have close to 150 people in Chennai in various areas. So our
Right.
role is like actually like we are involved in the back office, mainly with reference
Mhm.
to the print and digital segment. With reference
Right.
to print segment, like what happens is when an author sends his manuscript to a publisher will be having the manuscript like which has been sent by the author. So like the publisher approaches a company like us. For example, there is a publisher called Random House. The Random House
Right.
approaches a company called Simon and Sons. That's where like we step in. So what we do is like once we get the manuscript from the publisher, we will we will like process that into like different segments. Like the first segment is called as manuscript preparation. So what happens in manuscript preparation processes, the raw manuscript like which we receive is undergone a initial verification process. So we will check the entire content, and we will check for all the like relevant information given in the content. Like for example, if the author would have put a content like which speaks about particular image or table, like we will make sure the table and the images are supplied along with the manuscript. If there is something missing, like we will just check with the publisher or with the author, and we'll make sure we have the complete package. So once the complete package is ready, we are done with the manuscript preparation process. The next process is called as editorial process. In editorial process, there are two segments involved. Like one is called as copy editing, and one is called as language editing. So in copywriting process, like what happens is every publisher will have his own in-house style guide. For example, a publisher from UK will have his own in-house style guide, or like he will recommend a common style guide, like which is used by the UK audience. So what we have to do
Right.
is, as per the recommendations or instruction given by the publisher, we will edit the content given by the author to match and make sure like it is following as per the standards. So that is done in the copywriting stage, as well as like we will take care of correcting grammatical errors, or like making sure like the author has used the words which are allowed in UK or US. So that is done during the copywriting or language editing process. Once the edited content is ready, the edited document will be moved to a next process called design or typesetting or pagination or composition. Like we have like different sets of name for this process. In this process, like we use various softwares like Adobe InDesign, 3B2, which is a product of Advent. We use products like FrameMaker, PageMaker, Quark Express, and there are many softwares. But in most of the cases, most of the publishers recommend InDesign because like, it has like a lot of features like which supports XML and non-XML. So in
Right.
our case, we use the software called Adobe InDesign. Using the software, like what we will do is like we have the ready content like which has been edited and ready for use, and we have the like supplied materials like images and tables separately. We will take the design, we will take the content, we will take the tables, images, and we'll make sure to design a book as per the client's requirement or specification. So look and feel of the book is done in this process. So we will do all the end-to-end designing process, and once that is done, we will have the print PDF, which is the final product. So it is
Right.
typically a digital format of book which is ready after this process. Once that is done, we will send the print PDF to the publisher. So the publisher will print the book based on the targeted audience requirement. Like in certain cases, like they will just print like minimum copies of 500 to 1,000. In certain cases, like based on the bigger audience, like even they print like 1 lakh copies or 2 lakh copies. So it is based on the targeted audience requirements. So that is with reference to print publishing. And with reference to
Right.
digital publishing, there are various segments like ebooks, interactive ebooks, accessible ebooks, which is based on W508 standards, and there are many segments. So based on clients' requirements, like we will do all these productions and makes it like basically like the backend is like XML, HTML5, and JavaScripting, like which is used for development of this digital products.
Which I never thought, like, it takes so much of work behind the scenes, like, to get a book published. The
Yes,
first time I'm getting so much of information about it. Thank you.
sure.
Yeah, Vijay, for someone who's starting, fresh in the industry, in the publishing industry, what guidance or suggestion would you offer?
Fine. So basically, if someone wants to join a publishing company, like they have to choose a career path, whether they want to go with reference to print or digital segment.
Right.
If the person wants to go for a print segment, they have to again like categorize themselves, like whether they want to go on to the editorial segment or design segment. If they want to go on to the editorial segment, then they should have a good proficiency in English, because that is the basic language like we use for 99.9% of the publishers. So they should have a good proficiency in English. Then they should like train themselves in, like, there are a lot of standards like which are available to work on copywriting and proofreading. So that is with reference
Right.
to editorial services. In case if someone wants to go on the design part, they should get a basic training on softwares like InDesign, Photoshop, Illustrator, and other basic designing softwares. So that is with
Right.
reference to the print area. In case if someone wants to pursue a career in digital segment, then basic things like they should learn is about like XML, HTML5, JavaScripting, and other related languages. Like if they are proficient, then yes, they can pursue a career in digital segment.
Is there any courses available in the public domain, like where people can subscribe and get some basic certification just to start with?
Yes, like there are a lot of like certification courses available with reference to design, because like for Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, like there are plenty of courses like which are available online, and people can even refer YouTube's and like they can just learn. But it's very simple. Learning the basics cannot will not help them to pursue a career in publishing, because like once they
Right.
step in, they can just learn the actual works, and every day like it is kind of a learning for them. So that is with reference to the design part. And if they want to choose a professional degree, yes, they have some courses in diploma in printing technology, and I strongly recommend an institute called SIGA, which is Salesian Institute of Graphical Arts. Like they train the people on end-to-end production process of publishing. And if the people want to go for a professional degree, they can choose BE printing from any professional institutions.
Right. Vijay, we would like to, if you can share us any documentation of the workflow and the category you mentioned about, print and digital, for the audience as well as for some fresher, like, who can learn some basics, like, before they subscribe to any courses, that would be really helpful. Since you have so much of, wide knowledge for the last, I mean, in-depth knowledge about the industry for the last 20 years.
Sure, Suresh. Like I'll be happy to share those information to you.
Right, fantastic. Thank you so much. And Vijay, how do you manage both the teams, like the offshore teams? As I'm assuming, like in US or UK, you only interact with the clients. You don't have a team over there. So how do you manage both the offshore team as well as your clients? Do you use any specific tools to interact with them, and how the work gets transferred to India, and what are the activities done by the offshore team after that?
Fine. So like what happens is like 90% of the communication will happen through email, because like it's getting the files, delivering the files, like all the instructions and everything happens through emails. So 90% of works have been done by emails, and file sharing is done through Dropbox, as well as like dedicated FTP. Like we have a dedicated FTP, making sure like the data is secured between both the parties. So that's how it works. And in certain cases, like we will have like calls, like phone calls, like we use VoIP lines to make calls. So which happens during the initial stage of the process, like when the client wants to explain and give an introduction about the specific project, there will be like initial kickoff calls for all the projects. And as and when, like if there is any queries or escalations or any questions, like we'll be getting calls directly from the client, and vice versa, like we will make calls to the client. Also, like some clients prefer to have chat messenger conversation, so like we use Skype and other messengers. So it's like we work 24 by 7, 365 days. So we are available for the clients like from different regions, different time zones. So there is no time specification for us. We are available all the day, all over the year.
And what is the duration of these kind of projects? I mean, if you can give an example, like you received a requirement, right? And I don't know, like what is the volume of work is going to be, like is it going to be for a month or 2 months or 3 months? So can you give us an example of any recent project you have completed successfully? This is how you got the requirement and the duration of the project, and how the delivery happened, and what was the feedback from the client after that?
Fine, sure. So with reference to the print publishing process, like the duration actually takes is like minimum, it takes like 3 months time, and maximum even it takes like 12 months time to complete the book. So it's a big process, like where it goes like to and fro conversation between the clients as well as the supplier.
I mean,
Yes,
Vijay, just to correct you, for one book,
yes.
or for one book it takes around six. I
For
mean,
Yeah, for one book, like the entire cycle, entire production process takes time from minimum 3 months to maximum 1 year. because like it has to undergo like each and every process. So it takes like maximum 1 year and minimum 3 months.
So if I have to write a book now, I have to wait for a month. I mean, for 3 to 6 months to publish it. I mean, is that what you're saying?
No, it depends upon the mode like which you choose. Because like if you want to choose a self-publishing mode, you can make it as
Right.
quick as like 1 or 2 months. It's not an issue. But if you
Okay.
want to choose a mode to go based on a publisher, it has a fixed
Right.
process. Like
Okay.
it takes
Yeah.
some time. So it
Okay.
depends.
Right. Yeah. So coming back to the again. So any recent project you want to share, like, which from the time you received a requirement and how successfully you did it, and what was the feedback from the client after that?
Yes, like recently we worked for a client called Ministry of Sudan. So it is for a government
Right.
project. So we got this project from British Council of Sudan. So we just participated in an RFP, and like after like submitting like a lot of bids and other things, like we got this project successfully. Initially, like it was a tough phase for us because like people from Sudan giving instruction to us, they were not able to give the exact requirements because like they are not very much proficient in English. So like they wanted to explain something, and we understood something, and like we just delivered the work. And later on, like we found like there was kind of a communication gap, and later on, like we requested them to like take help of some people like who has got like good proficiency in English. And that's how like a person has been hired from their end, and they like he came in and like he just explained the entire process to us with a clear cut of information and instructions. And later on, like it went well, and the book got published in Sudan region, and now it is a kind of a successful educational books like which is taking rounds in Sudan and other nearby regions.
Fantastic. And what is the duration of it? I mean, 6 months, right? I mean,
Yeah, it took like more than 1 year.
more than 1 year. Okay.
Yes.
And just to add to it, like, you have 20 years of experience in the IT, the publishing industry. As you mentioned many times, like, you have worked on many successful projects. Is there any project where you fell short of meeting your client expectation? And how did you overcome those things? You just quoted one, you successfully did it. Anything else, like, where it was if it was a complete disaster and you had to start it from the scratch again to do a better work to your client?
Fine. So touchwood, like till now, like we haven't faced that kind of disasters as of now. But I can just
Right.
share an experience like where we did a first product for a prestigious client. So the client's name is like Caribbean Publisher. So for them, like we were working on typesetting and design for like many years. Might be like a couple of years back, like the client came to us with a specific and unique requirement, like where they just wanted to go for a first digital product for the country. So they wanted to publish their works in a format of pen drive output. So like it was totally a new requirement for us, and the client had a great confidence on us, and he gave us all the specification and requirements. So like we just took that project as a challenge, and we developed the pen drive supplement for the particular book. And at last, like after successful completion, like the project took like almost 6 to 8 months to get delivered. So we just delivered the entire book as well as the supplement of a pen drive along with each books. The pen drive will carry application and all other interactive activities. So the book was sent to the Caribbean industry, and the proud moment for us is like we have been invited by the Caribbean government to be part of the book publishing show. So we were part of the book publishing show, and the Caribbean government launched this first product because like, it seems for the Caribbean government, this was the first digital product like which has been launched, and we feel proud and privileged that we were part of this. So it was kind of a add to feather, it's kind of like we were adding a feather to our cap. So like it was a proud one for us.
Fantastic. And how did you get this work? I mean, did you bid for an RFP, or is there any other mode, like, you won this contract?
It is based on our like previous relationship, because like
Relationship.
we have been working with the client for like past 10 years, so
Right.
it's purely based on the relationship.
And Vijay, what recommendation or suggestion would you offer to clients from international podium who are interested in partnering with outsourcing firms like your organization?
Yes, like a strong recommendation which I can give is there are many competitive companies or like suppliers. Like every day, like we can see like a lot of small companies emerging from India and from other Asian countries. So
Right.
those companies, like if they are offering good products with good pricing, like you can always go ahead and get it. It's not an issue. But there are players like who typically wanted to get the business, and they are underquoting in many cases. So most of the in some clients, like what they do is like they trust this underquoted suppliers, and they're just offering them the books or projects. At last, like
Mm.
they end up in vain compromising on the quality. So like my strong recommendation or request is to validate the companies like who has like a lot of previous experiences. In case if the client wants to hire a particular company, they should at least consider the supplier to go for a test process. If they feel like the test process seems to be like okay or satisfied, then they can consider them for the live project. It's not an issue. So they should not focus only on the costing part. Like I'm sure like it won't end up in a right manner.
All right, fantastic. I'll sure, I would like to get your company's portfolio and some of the work which you guys have successfully done, and the testimonial what you have received so far. I would love to publish that in our, in podcast. Any presentation if you have anything, any materials you can validate it. I would love to present to our audience as well.
Sure, Suresh, like I'll be happy to share that.
Sure. And Vijay, what website or portals do you frequently browse or follows to stay updated on the latest news for the publishing industry?
For us, LinkedIn is the only Bible for us. So we just rely on LinkedIn.
I mean, do you follow any particular group to get
Yes, like,
information on the?
yeah, there are plenty of groups like which is related to publish ebooks and so on. So we just follow all the groups as well as like we just be updated with the industry happenings. So like we just go with the LinkedIn platform. So that is what with reference to digital.
And you travel a lot. So, what kind of output you have received while attending all these the conferences like London Book Fair, right? I'm correct me if I'm wrong, as
Yes.
well
So
as
like
German. Yeah.
every year like there are like different book fairs like happening like across the globe. So we feel like this book fairs as a common hub where all the publishers or all the clients will meet together. So we feel like this as a place like where we get an opportunity to meet all the clients. So being in this publishing industry, the main book fairs like we should not miss is the first one is London Book Fair, like which happens in the month of April. So we usually go for this book fair. And the next one is like Frankfurt Book Fair. It happens in the month of October. It happens in Germany, Frankfurt. And there are other book fairs like which happens like every year, like which is like Book Expo America. So it happens in US. There is other book fairs like Abu Dhabi Book Fair in Dubai, and there are plenty of book fairs happening in Latam regions too. So like yes, it's good to attend all the book fairs to get like more exposure, as well as we will get an opportunity to like meet a lot of new clients there.
Right. And what I mean, and the BPO industry, when I started my career, I started as a call center agent. I'm sure things have evolved now. How do you manage your work and work life balance, if I may say, healthy work life balance? How do you spend your time over the weekends? Do you take frequent breaks? Because I know you work in multiple time zones as well.
Yes, Suresh, like as you say, like yes, official life that is very stressful for us because like when we grow on every stages, like people might think like yes, this guy has grown to a next level, so like he'll be sitting aram, say like it's not the actual fact. So when we just go inside a cabin and we sit and work, we will have like lot of mental pressure than the physical pressure. So that is what happens with the senior levels. So in order to compensate this stress and pressure, like what I do is like I regularly practice badminton in the morning time. So my lifestyle starts from morning 4:30. Like I just go to badminton. I play almost like 2 hours a day. So I just get up like a lot of positive vibes and energy from there. I start the work, and end of the day, like I just finish with like a kind of a meditation and listening to songs. So I'll make sure like I stay fit and healthy, both physically as well as mentally.
Right. Thank you so much. And where do you put your money for investment, Vijay? The reason I ask this question is someone, a fresher or a beginner, starting their career, because I started investment as very late, late in my 30s. The reason being, I thought, I can make money any point of time in my life. But it took a while for me to realize that that's not going to be the case. So the idea of me asking about the investment is someone who started this, the career in the IT or any particular field, so that they can start their investment process very early, when they're in their 20s, when they just started their career. So, what does your investment plans look like? Where do you put your money?
Yeah, like basically coming from a South Indian family, like almost all the families and the women at home recommend to invest in gold because like having two daughters, like I was forced to invest in gold. So that is happening side by side. And out of my own interest, like I have done some investments, buying some good plots. So like it is on real estate. So
Right.
being settled in OMR, like I have got like some decent number of plots in OMR. So that is where my investment lies,
Right. So basically in real estate and in gold, not on stocks.
not on stocks.
Right. And you're very particular about your morning routine, where I've seen you a few times, playing badminton. So what is the morning routine looks like for you? You wake up and playing, and after that, what? And I'm sure, you have a night routine as well.
Yes, like I wake up at 4:30 sharp. So like I'll just like warm up from 4:30 to 5. I will do some basic exercise at home. Like I have set up a mini gym at home. So like I'll just do some basic warming up and stretching exercise at home. Sharp at 5:30, I just leave to the badminton court. Right from 5:30 to 7:30, I'll just play with my friends
Right.
in a badminton club. So after finishing that, like I just come home, refresh, relax. I just start to office at 8:30. So and my office is like almost like 16 kilometers from my residence. So I'll just go for a slow drive and reach my office sharp at 9. Mostly my office timing starts at 9:30. I always prefer to be ahead of my timing. That's why like I can be a example for the people like who are starting their career. So I do not want to be a
Right.
sample going late and like motivating them in negative parts. So I just wanted to be example for them. And my
Right.
official day ends somewhere from 6:30 to 8:30. I reach home. I just spend some time with my family, my kids, and I'll just eat the bed sharp at 9:30. So that's my day plan.
Right. Right. Fantastic. And tell us about your daughter. I know that one is a Bharatanatyam dancer, and she did some program for the last G20 summit, right? I mean, she was invited. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. She's a good Bharatanatyam dancer. That much I know.
Yes, Suresh. Like I have two daughters. Like my elder daughter, her name is
The elder
Cynthia.
daughter is the one who does Bharatanatyam, correct?
Yes, like my elder daughter's name is Cynthia. She's like
Right.
13 years old, and she's a trained Bharatanatyam dancer. So like most probably next year, like she's going to do her Arangetram. So
Right.
till now, like she has performed in like many leading government functions, and she holds a T20 certification, summit certificate, as well as like she has performed in like one of the Guinness World Records, and she holds a Guinness certificate. So she has got like a lot of awards and medals, especially from the Bharatanatyam. And my younger
Right.
daughter, like she's
Well, I know she's popular in social media. I've seen her
yeah.
videos. I
So
know
so
about her.
that's about my daughters.
Right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Vijay. It was a pleasure talking to you. I wish you all the best for life. Take care. And once again, thanks for giving us your valuable time.
Sure. Thank you so much, Suresh, and thanks so much for giving me this opportunity, especially on a weekend to share all my like background and histories. Like it was kind of a cherishing moment for me, and thank you so much,
Right.
and wishing you good luck for
We'll,
all
we'll,
your.
we'll talk again, when I want to get into the specification of your project. So maybe after a few months, when once you win a new contract. So I want to walk us. I expect you to walk us through the complete life cycle or the workflow of winning a contract to the delivery in more detail, with some presentation to show or something to show to the audience as well.
Definitely, Suresh. Like that'll be my pleasure to share that.
Thank you, Vijay. Cheers. Take care.
Sure. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Onsite and Offshore Podcast. We hope you found our conversation insightful and engaging. And remember, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. That way, you'll never miss an episode and will always be up to date with the latest insight and discussion. We love hearing from our listeners, so please don't hesitate to reach out with any question, comments, or feedback. You can find us on social media or shoot us an email. Goodbye and take care.